Hello, lovely yogis, and welcome back. It is so nice to have you here for a short feel good flow today. We're focusing on quite a slow and gentle approach, but some strong movement in there, but all supported by the breath and a really kind of gentle, feel good approach into our moving. So you'll want to get yourself, obviously, your mat. You might like a couple of yoga blocks, perhaps some water, and just a willingness to move and drop into your body. So we will begin in a seated position, finding a butterfly shape with the legs. And you may like to sit on a block or a cushion here. Bringing the soles of the feet together, allowing the knees to fall wide. And as you land in this position, perhaps you'd like to roll your shoulders up, back, and down a few times. Just finding some openness, some lubrication in this region. And then drawing the shoulder blades towards each other, letting them melt down the back, bringing an openness across the chest and length into the neck. From here, we'll find some seated cat-cow. So as your inhale arrives, pull gently on the ankles and allow the heart to burst through the shoulders, perhaps looking towards sky. And then as you exhale, curve, tuck the tailbone, chin to chest. Allow yourself to rock back off the sit bones there. Again, inhale, bursting that heart through, release shoulders down, away from ears. Exhale, round here, chin to chest. Beautiful. One more round, breathing in and breathing out. We'll now bring some spirals into the torso. So same position with the legs, and we're simply drawing a big circle with the torso here, kind of maintaining a bit of that cat-cow action. So chest forward as we come forward, rounding through the spine as we come back. And then we're kind of stirring the pot here, almost like we're scraping the edges of a big bowl of cake batter. And then we can reverse and come back the other way. Allow yourself to rock and roll across the sit bones here. Letting this movement feel really good, almost like a little massage for your spine and your hips. Really nice. Okay, coming back to center. And then we'll come into a tabletop position. So releasing the props, bringing knees about 2 fist widths apart, hands, fingertips spread, and just under the elbows and the shoulders here. And then finding some cat-cows in this position. So once again, inhale, burst that heart through the shoulders, scoop tailbone, look to sky. Exhale, round, chin to chest. Beautiful. Just allow yourself to move here in your own rhythm, at your own pace, being led by the breath. And perhaps if it feels good for you, you can make this a little bit more organic by finding some circular actions in the hips, maybe drawing some figure eights, coming forward and backwards or side to side on the mat. Anything goes here, whatever feels good. Because you know what? Generally, if it feels good, then it probably is good. So follow your own lead here. Lovely. Okay, we'll slowly come to lie down on our belly now. Walking the feet out long behind, finding lots of space in the hip flexors. And then we'll take the fingertips out wide, tenting up onto them, elbows to sky as we inhale, finding a little cobra here. And then exhale, lower. Breathing in, climbing up. This time as we lower, dipping that right ear towards the mat, dropping the right shoulder and coming up. And then other side, dip that left ear and shoulder down and come up through center. One more round in the center here. Beautiful. Staying here, or perhaps lengthen through the arms, pressing into the palms, finding a little seal pose. And then release that down. We'll place the hands under the shoulders and push the hips back. Child's pose for a moment. And then rocking forward to your tabletop. Taking a knees, chest, chin towards the mat. Hips are high. And then scoot forward into your cobra. And then exhale through your tabletop. Tuck those toes. Send the hips up and back. You're in your downward facing dog here. And again, do what feels good in your body with this pose. Perhaps it's pedaling through the feet, bending one and then the other. One knee and then the other, I should say. Perhaps it's swaying through the hips. Checking in with the neck and allowing the head to hang heavy here to bring that length right through the spine into the upper columns of the vertebra at the base of the skull. Beautiful. And then we'll look towards the hands and gently tiptoe or step forward, finding a rag doll at the top here. So we're holding opposite elbows and we're swaying side to side. Again, finding length through the neck, imagining the head to be a big, heavy bowling ball here. Swaying side to side. Just letting this be nothing more than some gentle movement in the body that feels good. You deserve that. Just to be in the moment and to let it feel good. Okay, from here we'll find some around the world. So quite a deep bend in the knees here. And then we continue to hold the elbows as we swirl the body to the side, finding a side stretch. Elbows come up and overhead, and then we continue that rotation. So we come to the other side and drop back down. It's kind of like a big loop-the-loop on a roller coaster as we come up and around and down. Nice. One more round on this side, letting the breath and the movement be unionized. And then in return, come back the other way. Finding that sense of fluidity and flow as you move here. Nice. Coming back down and then gently rolling up the vertebra, stacking one at a time, rolling those shoulders when you get to the top, finding your Tadasana. And in your Tadasana here, pressing all four corners of the feet into the mat. Gentle bend of the knees as you move the thigh bones backwards. Little tuck of the pelvis as we roll the shoulders up, back and down, opening through the heart space. Tucking the chin, finding length in the neck, and then expanding up and out through the crown of the head. As your next inhale arrives, raise those arms up. Gaze can lift. Exhale, hinge at those hips, finding a forward fold. Breathe in, halfway lift, opening the heart space. And then plant those hands, step or jump back to your plank. And then we'll come through a chaturanga or a knees chest chin if that speaks to you better today. Inhale, open, receive, upward facing dog. Exhale, pressing through those hands, downward facing dog. Inhale, step or hop to the front of the mat as you halfway lift. And breathing out to fold, release the head. Round through the feet as you rise, arms lift. Cascading back down, second round here. Halfway lift. And taking your vinyasa, stepping or jumping through your chaturanga, cobra or up facing dog. Meeting in this home base, downward facing dog. Take a fluid round of breath here, in deep to the belly. Side out through the mouth. Step your right foot forward now between your hands. And we'll come onto the outside of that right foot. So we're letting the right knee open here and coming onto the very knife edge of that foot. Now, option here to bring the hands to blocks. That helps you if the floor feels a little bit far away. Otherwise, finding some really gentle bounces here. We're not kind of dumping into the hips. We're just pressing into the outside of that right foot and the ball of the back foot. Finding some buoyancy in the hips here as we bring in some openness, some lubrication to these joints. Nice. And then place that foot flat on the floor, knee stacks over the ankle, right arm raises to the sky as we draw that right hip back, easy twist. And here you may like to find some nice deep arm circles. Reverse, come back the other way. And then hands frame that foot, taking your flow. High plank, low plank, cobra or upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Taking that breath here, allowing yourself to land. And then left foot steps between those hands to blocks if that's more supportive for you. And then dropping onto the outside of the left foot now, allowing that knee to open up. Buoyancy here in the hips as we press into the feet to gently raise and lower those hips. It's kind of vibrational bouncing action known in the energetic world as spanda, the vibrational frequency of life, allowing it to flow through the hips and the pelvis here. Really nice. And then flatten that foot, draw that hip back, open left arm to sky. And then perhaps take those nice big circles with the arms. Allowing it to feel good. Reverse when you're ready. And then frame that foot, taking your flow. Releasing through the hands as we lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take your breath here. And as the next inhale arrives, once again, look between the hands, stepping that right foot forward. We're sitting up for Trikonasana now. So mindfully make your journey to your triangle pose. Hand can be on the floor. You may like to place it on a block or perhaps on the shin. Pressing firmly into the feet here and then reaching that top arm up and over. Stay here or again finding those oozy circles. Nice. And then from here, we're floating into our half moon. So hand can stay on this block or reach for the top right corner of your mat. Oh, with the wobbles today as we come into Andhra Chandrasana, half moon pose. Gaze to the floor, out in front of you, maybe towards that top hand. Allow that breath to continue to flow. Nice, deep, generous, compassionate bend in that front knee as we come back, lifting up into warrior two for a beat here. Inhale, reversing your warrior. And then circling those arms forward, finding your lunge and flowing it out, flushing it through the body here. Next inhale takes the left foot forward, and once again, we mindfully journey to our version of triangle, Trikonasana. Reaching that top arm overhead as we press firmly into the back foot, enhancing that stretch along the left side of the body. And then stay here or find those circles, opening through the shoulders. And then when you're ready, floating on into your half moon pose. Grounding through that base foot as we lengthen and reach to the crown of the head, the top arm, the elevated foot, and the base hand. Nice, deep, generous bend here as we ooze back, finding your warrior two. Inhale. Exhale, sink. Reversing that warrior. And then spiral those arms forward and flow it out. Beautiful. From your downward facing dog, simply dropping the elbows here and walking the feet under the hips just as much as is comfortable. Allowing that bowling ball action with the head again, just let it hang. If this is too much, feel free to bring the knees to the floor and raise the hips as much as you can. Most important thing here is shoulders over elbows, so bring that little bit of strength, that little bit of spice into the shoulder joint. One more breath in. And release it down. Take a moment in embryo pose, hips over heels, forehead to mat. Okay, from here we'll come to kneeling, sitting up for a camel pose. So if you know you like blocks for this, you may like to place them on the outsides of the feet. We'll take 2 rounds. First round, inhale, roll those shoulders back, connect the shoulder blades towards each other. Hips move forward as hands reach back for your blocks, or perhaps for the tucked feet. Head can look forward, or maybe it would like to drop back here. This beautiful deep back bend, this opening of the heart space, surrendering to this very moment exactly as it is. Gentle core engagement here, lifting through the pelvic floor as we return. Sitting back on the heels for a moment, perhaps close the eyes, allowing that back bend to integrate through the body. And then setting up for a second round. Potentially you'd like to leave the toes untucked this time for a little more of a challenge. Roll those shoulders up and back, connecting those shoulder blades, hips forward as we lean back. Allowing that head to drop if that's good for the neck. Lining that breath. Beautiful. And then core, pelvic floor activated to come up. On your time, sitting on those knees. Length through the crown of the head here. Okay, we'll sit onto one side and swing those legs out in front of us now. You may like to take a block under the sit bones as we come into Paschimottanasana, forward fold. First here we want to ground, so draw the toes back to allow you to press the heels into the mat and think thigh bones, sits bones also down into the earth. And then from here, finding length through the upper body as we hinge forward. Come as far as is accessible, as feels good for you. And then you can allow that head to round, bringing a little bit of flexion into the upper back. As the next inhale arrives, lifting up, making your way to a comfortable seat, perhaps sliding a block or a cushion underneath the sit bones. You may like here to bring one hand or even 2 hands to your heart center as you soften or close the eyes, observing any shifts that have occurred within the course of this practice. And again, just meeting them where they're at, meeting yourself in this exact moment, precisely as it is. Joining the hands together now at heart center in a prayer position. Allowing the lips to curl up into a little smile in gratitude for this practice, for your body, for the time that you have carved out. And bowing chin to chest here in reverence. And in great hope that any merits of this practice can be shared with everybody around us and the world as a whole. Opening the eyes whenever you're ready, coming back to your space, moving forward in your day with mindfulness and care, leaning into what feels good. Thank you as always for joining me, yogis. If you'd like more, I invite you to come and join me on Patreon. The link is in the notes of this video. There you'll find a bunch of resources to support you both in movement, mindfulness, and meals, some nutrition support there too. all with a high vibe, holistic focus on bringing you home to your body mind and helping you feel more well, more at ease, and more full of vitality. Until next time, have a beautiful day, evening, whatever time it is where you are, and I will see you soon. Thank you.